Congressman, I'd like to throw one over to you. I know you serve on the House Committee of Education and Labor. Up in our district, Susquehanna County, just north of you, next week, the Susquehanna County Career and Technology Center is going to be opening a CDL school. CDL schools are very important in my opinion, because even before the pandemic hit, we didn't have enough drivers to move the products we were moving. And today, we still don't have enough drivers to move the products that we're moving. So when manufacturing does come back, we're going to need a lot more drivers. But more so to the career and technical side of things, what's being done at, say, the federal level to invest in career and technology centers, whether they be a CDL school or just welding, advanced manufacturing. These are great schools, and we need to transition, especially our youth and young adults, into those types of careers.
Have the funding. Barriers were knocked down related to Pell Grants, the Pell Grants and GI Bill and all school funding for traditional schools has been more or less completely made available for the vocational schools as well. I have a number of vocational schools throughout my district, and they're all terrific. I've visited every one. And I'll tell you what, you got young people in there that have a bounce in their step, that are doing something, that are doing carpentry or doing plumbing or doing welding, and they're going to come out and they know there's going to be jobs available for them. We need to continue to advance that. Funding is for the school and for the tuition are not necessarily the issues, as the administrators tell me. What is an issue is money for the capital equipment. They can't learn, they can't train unless they've got the right equipment to be training on. So what I try to do is, I'm hoping everyone on this call can appreciate connecting businesses with them, because it would be beneficial, of course, to a business if they were able to invest perhaps in whatever that apparatus or device would be that they could train on, and then they'd be developing some future skilled workers. So more of that would be helpful, but it's regular conversation. We also need to remove the stigma. I'm very happy that many high schools now have career development. Some have great career development, some not so much. So they need to appreciate that. Again, you know, there's a certain type of student that, boy, they really get inspired by engaged in that level of work. And there's tremendous opportunities there. And, you know, so many future entrepreneurs come from that, right? They come out, they're a plumber, whatever they might be, and then they start, or electrician, they start their business, they get good at it, they hire a few people. Next thing you know, they've got 25 employees. So big advocate for it. That's one of the best things about being on Education and Labor, be helpful in that regard.
Thank you, Congressman. Keith, I'll give you the final opportunity to respond to this question with your final thoughts. We're up against our deadline here too.
Yeah, I would say, you know, again, you know, the issue of what we call the skills gap crisis was one of the biggest issues facing manufacturing employers of all sectors before the pandemic, and it still continues. Half of manufacturers, even today, in light of the economic recovery challenges that we're facing, still are facing challenges of attracting the skilled talent that they need to fill jobs that currently exist. We were able to partner with Deloitte to be able to model out, you know, between now and 2028, we see the potential, unless really significant action is taken, the potential for 2.4 million manufacturing jobs going unfilled. Is part of our onshoring initiative. Some of the recommendations that we've been able to highlight is to be able to increase the amount of educational credits that can be applied for an employee's gross income. Right now, the IRS code allows for, I believe, $5,200 for deductibility. We recommended doubling that, and to be able to look at some of the very creative and innovative earn and learn models, to be able to have a greater ability to phrase some of the costs that employers face with those programs, to be able to look at some creative new deductions in that regard. But the biggest biggest area of focus is the perception of the opportunities that exist. And that's something that the NAM is launched, our Creators Wanted initiative, to be able to reach out to that next generation of the manufacturing workforce, not just students, but the parents and teachers that are vital in shaping those career decisions, to get them attracted to understand what's possible and speak to them in terms that next and future generation can relate to get them excited. You know, the days of dirty, dark, and dangerous manufacturing are over. When students have the ability to go into a manufacturing facility and see what's possible and what's needed for not just today, but tomorrow's modern manufacturing economy, that's one of the biggest areas of focus that span a partisan divide and require not just leadership from policymakers, but really responsibility that manufacturers have to take on to commit themselves, to highlight themselves and what the career potentials are out there for that next generation.
Hey, I just want to mention, and Cabot knows this all too well with building the petroleum and natural gas school at Lackawanna. It's a lot of times not just going out to the kids, but it's going out to the parents so that they see the stigma's been removed, the cost benefit versus the expenses there. And I'll just kind of leave it with this. Those jobs that we're talking about, whether it's plumbing, heating, CDL, manufacturing, they can't be outsourced. You have a job for life in one of those very good paying jobs. So I would encourage, everybody, whether it's students, children, grandchildren, to at least look at all of those options about what this country is offering us to be better.